Hello, Doug here. Welcome back to yet another board game channel and yet another episode of Arkham Horror the card game as we do the first scenario of the Night of the Zealot called The Gathering. We are very close to the end here, one way or the other. To get the best win conditions possible, we need to destroy this Ghoul Priest in our hallway. He's got 10 HP, as we have 2 investigators. We've done 3, so we got to knock him down 7 more to win. Now, our investigators are over here in the parlor. So yeah, we'll just have to get both of them into the hallway as quickly as we can so that Skids can start wailing on it. If we can get Daisy in there, that'd be good because she currently has Lead Chandler with her, which will increase damage by 1. The only problem is if we send Daisy in first, so that Lita is there, the Ghoul Priest will engage with her. And we don't want that. So we may have to send Skids in first and have him do a couple attacks without the Lita bonus. But yeah, we'll see. First thing we need to do, however, is, as always, the dreaded Mythos phase. So, we will, as instructed, add another Doom token to the agenda. That brings us up to 5 out of the 7. It's going to flip in a couple of rounds. I'm hoping we can avoid that coming up and just get this done. Now we have to pick the cards. Now, unfortunately, we know, thanks to Daisy's scrying, that when Skids draws his card, he gets a Ghoul minion, which has got combat of 2, 2 hit points, and an evade of 2. I think it's a humanoid monster ghoul. It was a colossal and nameless blasphemy with glaring red eyes, and it held in bony claws a thing that had been a man, gnawing at the head as a child nibbles at a stick of candy. And that's a quote from H.P. Lovecraft and his story Pickman's Model. Yes, very unappealing. You see, it'll do 1 physical and 1 mental damage if it manages to connect with anyone. So that will unfortunately go into Skids' threat area. So he's going to have to deal with that. We'll see what we can do. Now, what is Daisy going to get? And okay, it's not an enemy, which is good, but it's going to still be something bad. Frozen in Fear. A terror. Revelation. Put Frozen in Fear into play in your threat area. The first time you perform one of the following actions, move, fight, or evade each round, it costs 1 additional action. And forced, at the end of your turn, test into willpower. Yes, willpower. Against 3. If you succeed, discard it. Not the worst thing we could have for her, because pretty much all we want to do is get her into the hallway with Skids. So if it takes a couple of her actions to do that, so be it. Okay, speaking of Skids, let's see what we end up doing with him. Alright, here's Skids in the parlor with a Ghoul minion after him. So the first thing we're going to do is try to have him evade the minion so that he can then leave and go to the hallway. And it's not a hunter, this particular monster, so it won't follow, well, either of our investigators into the hallway. It'll just wander around in the parlor while the rest of us do battle over here. So Skids has an agility of 4 against an evade of 2. So that means he'd be okay on anything from a -2 up. We could, just to be on the safe side, spend our 1 remaining resource to get him an extra agility. Really, I'd rather keep that for, save that for the combat. It's got pretty good odds. Anything -2 and above will be good. So there's only a few tokens that will cause him to be stuck with the minion. So, okay. Taking a risk. Here we go. And not looking, and a choose. The cultist. Remind me what the cultist is. It's a -2, so he does succeed. However, if there is a ghoul enemy at your location, which there is, he will take a damage. That's too bad. Of course, his health isn't very bad at all. 2 damage, that puts him down to 6. So as a result, the ghoul minion becomes exhausted. Which allows Skids, for his second movement, to get the heck out of the parlor and into the hallway, where he will now, for his third action, attack the Ghoul Priest. We are going to use his machete to fight. You get +1 attack, or +1 combat for this attack. His combat is already 3, so this will put him up to 4. If the attacked enemy is the only enemy engaged with you, that is true. Yes, he is. By walking into the room, the Ghoul Priest is now engaged with Skids. This attack deals +1 damage. On top of that, we're going to... What is that? Right, 1, 2, 3. So he's attacking with... What did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4. We're also going to use his Overpower, which will grant him another couple. So he's attacking with 6, and if he does successfully attack, we'll get to draw an extra card. Let's put that into the discard. So it's going to be 6 minus the Ghoul Priest's combat of 4. So once again, we want a -2 or better. And -1. Okay. Excellent. That means he's going to put 2 more damage onto the Ghoul Priest. The default 1 damage +1 because it's the only engaged enemy. Let's just add a couple more. That puts it at 5. We're getting there. Unfortunately, that's it for Skids. He can't attack a second time. Fix that. So that will leave us with Daisy's actions for her first and second actions, because of she's frozen in fear, and who can blame her, really? So for first and second action, she is going to join Skids in the hallway. So now Daisy and Skids will both get a +1 damage against the monster. So for her third action, what do I want to do? Suppose I could use scrying again. Maybe try to make sure we don't get any more monsters appearing in here with us, because that's a terrible thing. So yeah, scrying, exhaust scrying, spend 1 charge, look at the top 3 cards of any investigator's deck or the encounter deck. Return them to the top of that deck in any order. Okay, so we're going to exhaust that, get rid of another charge on it, so we can only use scrying once more. Take 3 cards from the encounter deck, and well, okay, we've got a swarm of rats, another ghoul minion, and obscuring fog. Obscuring fog is not a big deal right now because it only yeah, all it does is make the shroud more difficult, and we're not investigating, so that doesn't matter. So we will definitely put that on top because it won't actually screw things up much. We also put it second. No, we're going to leave, yes, because Skids will pick this. Then Daisy will pick the swarm of rats, which means Skids will still only have 1 enemy engaged with him when he fights the Ghoul Priest. So yeah, this is the order we're going to go in. We're going to have on top Obscuring Fog, then the swarm of rats, and then the Ghoul Minion. Okay, that's it for the investigation phase. Now the enemy phase. Okay, enemy phase, and I forgot to turn Daisy over. So yes, the Ghoul Priest goes at Skids, causing, unfortunately, two physical damage, 2 mental damage, which is going to put Skids extremely close to going insane. Actually, let me go down to Skids' area. Okay, here's Skids. He has 3 sanity. 3 sanity left. And quite a lot of health. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow him to take the 2 sanity damage. Well, I'm not wild about it. It's because I don't want the dog. The guard dog could absorb 1, but I don't actually want the guard dog to die right away. Because what we're going to do with the 2 physical damage is put 1 on Skids and put 1 on the guard dog. Because as a reaction, when an enemy attack deals damage to the guard dog, deal 1 damage to the attacking enemy. Which means, back here, the guard dog nips at the Ghoul Priest, giving it an extra bit of damage. It's up to 6. It's only got 4 left. I think we might be able to do this. So that ends the enemy phase, fortunately. Oh wait, the Ghoul Minion should have been unexhausted as part of that, but it still doesn't follow us because it doesn't have a hunter trait. Alright, upkeep phase. We reset our investigators. We unexhaust Daisy's scrying. Got 1 of those left. Alright, each investigator gets a card and a resource. So if we don't get their weaknesses, please. Okay, Skids gets a sneak attack costing 2 to activate. Tactic, deal 2 damage to an exhausted enemy at your location. So we can't use it to the ghoul, with the Ghoul Priest unless we evade him first. And he could hit him. He could hit us while we evade. So no thanks. But yeah. So put that into his hand and give him another resource. Daisy gets, fingers crossed, okay. Shriveling. Ooh. A spell. That's good. That gives us another possible way to attack. Yeah, spell. It's got 4 charges. As an action, spend 1 charge, fight. And this attack uses willpower instead of combat and deals +1 damage. If any of the non-numerical symbols is revealed during this attack, Daisy will take 1 horror, but she's got plenty of sanity. So yeah, we might want to use that, but for now it just goes into her hand. She takes another resource. We check to make sure we have less than 8 cards in our hands, which is the case. So now we loop back around to the Dreaded Mythos phase. Okay, here we go. I think we have this. As long as we don't pull absolutely horrible tokens. So, first things first, put a 6th Doom token on the agenda. If we do somehow make it through one more round, that will flip and activate. Now, we take our cards. First is Skids, yes, the Obscuring Fog. Attached to your location, limit 1 per location. Attached location gets +2 Shroud. Forced, after attached location is successfully investigated, discard Obscuring Fog. So, we'll attach that to the hallway. We mostly don't care. Then Daisy, as planned, gets the Swarm of Rats, which will, yeah, keep going after her because it's a hunter. So we'll just put that in her threat area. Okay. First things first. Who do we want to go first in the investigation phase? Okay. We're going to have Skids go first because he has the best chance of taking it down. Yeah. For first action, he's actually going to use his knife. What we're going to do is, as an action, we can discard the knife and fight with a +2 combat for this attack. And the attack deals 1 extra damage. That means he will be at 3, 4, 5, and 5, and let's also spend his Derringer to give him an extra combat. So that will be 6. So once again, anything that's -2 and up. So we got the Cultist, which is a -1. If he had failed, he would have taken a horror, which would drive him insane, and we'd lose Skids. But we're not failing because a -1 is good. So he does his base 1 damage. Does an extra damage because he just threw the knife at him. And he gets a 3rd damage due to Lita Chantler. So there's another 3. We only need to do 1 more damage. And we've won this. So Skids a second action, going back to the old reliable machete, which will give him a +1 for the attack. So again, he'll be at 4. Going to use his hard knocks. Spend a couple of resources. So yeah, we're going to do the free action twice. Spend 1 resource, get +1 combat for the skill test. So that's going to be 4. That's going to be 6 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, just making sure my math is right. So yet again, -2 or better. The skull, getting all the symbols, and I can't remember what any of them are. Skull -X, where X is the number of ghoul enemies at your location. Which is 1, which means that's a -1, which means... Yep. Good old Skids took out the Ghoul Priest. Yes, for which we will get 2 victory points at the end. So, whew, huzzah. That means objective, if the Ghoul Priest is defeated, advance. So we will do so, defending the home. When the robed creature falls, the fiendish swarm burrows back into the ground, and the chaos of the house quiets. But the stranger in your parlor doesn't seem relieved. You broke my seal that was set to trap the ghouls within. She raises her torch. Now, we must take more direct measures and burn this hell pit to the ground. The lead investigator, Skids, must decide, choose one. It was never much of a home, burn it down. And we will do ending, well, resolution 1. Or this hell pit is my home. No way are we burning it. Resolution 2. Now I figure to be in character, Skids, the ex-con, probably doesn't have a lot of ties to anything, really. So I think in character, Skids would say, yeah, torch it. It's worth it. Which means we will see what happens. Resolution 1. You nod and allow the red-haired woman to set the walls and floor of your house ablaze. The fire spreads quickly, and you run out the front door to avoid being caught in the inferno. From the sidewalk, you watch as everything you own is consumed by the flames. Come with me, the woman says. You must be told of the threat that lurks below. Alone, we are surely doomed, but together, we can stop it. So, in your campaign log, record that your house has been burned to the ground. So, we'll be doing that. I'll write it down here under the campaign notes. The lead investigator earns the Lita Chandler card and may include it in his or her deck. This card does not count towards that investigator's deck size. So, even though Daisy is currently holding the Lita Chandler card, our lead investigator Skids gets to keep that one. Yeah, this bit I'm not wild about, but it still seemed the correct way to go. The lead investigator suffers 1 mental trauma from watching his or her home become a smoldering ruin. Which means when he starts the next game, his sanity's been permanently reduced to 5 instead of 6. So we'll just have to be careful with him. And each investigator earns experience equal to the victory X value of each card in the victory display. Remember to add eligible locations. Each investigator earns 2 bonus experience as he or she gains insight into the hidden world of the mythos. So that means each of our investigators is going to get a total of 5 experience. The 2 bonus that it talked about, 2 for the Ghoul Priest, and another one because we cleared out all clues in the attic location. So they will have 5 experience points each to spend on upgrading their decks, which we'll cover another time. I'm going to take a break between scenarios here and probably play something else. Yeah, we did it. Go team. I wasn't sure there at the end. I was afraid Skids would go completely insane with with his very low sanity. So, yeah, thanks very much everybody for watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing and commenting and pointing out all the little errors that I make. I hope I didn't make any in this, because I can't fix it now. So, we will see you again next time when we start yet another tabletop game playthrough. We'll see you then. So long.